What if I told you that the best revenge isn't shouting back, proving them wrong, or trying to make them feel the same pain they caused you? What if I told you that the most powerful revenge is something so quiet, so unshakable, that it leaves them unsettled every time they think about you? See, when people hurt you, they expect a reaction. They expect anger, drama, chaos. They want to see you break because your pain validates their power. But the greatest revenge is not in giving them what they expect. It's in giving them nothing at all. Think about it. The moment someone betrays you, disrespects you, or walks away, they're secretly watching to see how you'll respond. Will you beg? Will you fight? Will you collapse without them? But what if instead of breaking, you rise? What if instead of chasing closure, you create distance? What if instead of wasting energy on revenge, you invested in building a life so strong, so elevated, that they can't even recognize you anymore? That's the kind of revenge that lasts forever, the kind that doesn't burn bridges. It builds empires. Let me ask you this. When has anger ever left you stronger? When has shouting ever left you respected? When has revenge through destruction ever given you peace? It never does. Because revenge, fueled by hate, ties you to the very people who tried to break you. But the revenge I'm talking about, the kind that will leave them regretting the day they ever underestimated you, is about detachment. It's about silence. It's about growth. It's about living in such a way that they no longer matter, but their memory reminds them every day of what they lost. Imagine this. The very people who hurt you open their eyes one day and see you thriving, smiling, succeeding, unstoppable. They realize their absence didn't destroy you. It pushed you. Their betrayal didn't weaken you. It became your fuel. And the worst punishment for them is knowing they no longer have access to the strongest, most resilient version of you. That is the sweetest, most unshakable revenge you can ever serve. Because the truth is, you don't get even with people who hurt you. You get ahead. You don't prove them wrong by fighting back. You prove them wrong by outgrowing them. And once you do, the silence of your success will echo louder than any words you could ever speak. Silence is one of the most underestimated forms of power. Most people believe that revenge requires noise, that you have to confront, argue, or let the world know how much you've been wronged. But the truth is, silence has a weight that words will never carry. When someone hurts you, they expect you to respond. They expect your anger, your tears, your retaliation. They expect you to prove that you are affected. But when you choose silence, you refuse to give them that satisfaction. You deny them the drama they crave. Think about it. When you argue, when you lash out, when you try to get even, you are still tied to them. Your emotions are still entangled with theirs. They may have hurt you, but by responding in anger, you allow them to control the narrative. You let them dictate your reactions, your energy, your focus. But silence severs that connection. It is not indifference, it is discipline. Silence says, I hear you, I see what you've done, and I choose not to engage because you are not worth lowering myself. That restraint takes more strength than any confrontation ever could. Silence unsettles people in ways words never do. When you stop responding, when you refuse to argue, when you walk away without explanation, the other person is left to wrestle with themselves. They replay their actions, they question your thoughts, they wonder if you're hurt, angry, or completely unaffected. That uncertainty eats at them. Words give them closure. Silence denies it. And in that denial, you regain control. You are no longer reacting, you are leading. There's also dignity in silence. When you walk away quietly, you protect your self-respect. You don't allow yourself to be dragged into petty battles that only drain your energy. You don't allow someone else's actions to pull you down to their level. Instead, you rise above it. And rising above doesn't always mean being louder or stronger. It means being untouchable. Silence makes you untouchable because it communicates that your peace is not up for negotiation. We live in a world where everyone wants to have the last word. Everyone wants to win the argument, to prove themselves right, to shout the loudest. But the person who wins is not the one who speaks the most. It's the one who no longer needs to. The one who can walk away without saying a thing. The one who is so secure in themselves that they don't waste time explaining their worth to people who chose to overlook it. That kind of silence is not weakness. It is self-mastery. And let's be clear, silence is not the same as passivity. It is not pretending nothing happened. It is not suppressing your feelings. It is choosing where to place your energy. It's saying, I refuse to let you control how I show up in the world. It's redirecting your energy away from the fight and into your growth. Because every minute you spend trying to confront someone who hurt you is a minute you could be investing in yourself, in your future, in building something they will never have a part of. The beauty of silence is that it also protects your power. When you lash out, you reveal your emotions, your vulnerabilities, your triggers. You give the other person ammunition. But when you are silent, they are left with nothing. They can't manipulate what they don't have access to. They can't twist words you never said. They can't diminish a reaction you never gave. Silence makes you unshakable because it refuses to be played like a game. And here's the truth. They will feel your silence louder than your words. At first, they may think you're ignoring them. Then they'll realize you're actually done. And that realization is painful. Because silence is final. Words can be argued with, defended, excused, but silence says, there's nothing left to say. Silence is closure without explanation, and that cuts deeper than any confrontation. Silence is also strategic. When you stop giving energy to the wrong people, you have more energy for yourself. That silence becomes space. Space to heal, to rebuild, to grow. And when you use that silence to focus on your goals, your body, your mind, your spirit, you emerge stronger. By the time they realize the impact of your silence, you've already outgrown the version of you they tried to hurt. And that is the ultimate revenge. Not that you shouted back, but that you rose higher without them ever hearing another word from you. It takes courage to be silent. It takes strength to resist the temptation, to fire back, to defend yourself, to prove your worth. But every time you choose silence over confrontation, you build resilience. You show yourself that you no longer need validation. You don't need to explain why you walked away. You don't need to justify your decision. You know your value and your silence reflects it. So the next time someone hurts you and you're tempted to shout, argue, or get even, remember this. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It is the loudest statement you will ever make. And the most powerful revenge is not in the words you throw at them. It is the silence that tells them they no longer exist in your world. Pain has a way of cutting deep, of shaking us to our core. It leaves you questioning your worth, your choices, sometimes even your future. But here's the truth most people overlook. Pain is energy. It is raw, unfiltered, powerful energy. And you get to decide how you use it. You can waste it by sitting in bitterness, replaying what happened, or wishing things were different. Or you can take that pain and transform it into fuel. Pain can be the very force that launches you into becoming stronger, sharper, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. Think about it. Every time someone hurt you, every time they betrayed you, rejected you, or walked away, what did it leave behind? A fire inside you. At first, that fire feels like destruction, like it's burning you alive. But with the right mindset, that same fire becomes the fuel that lights your path forward. Pain can tear you apart, or it can rebuild you with a strength no one can take away. It's not about denying the hurt. It's about redirecting it. The people who hurt you may have thought they were breaking you. They may have thought they were leaving you weaker. But in reality, they handed you a gift. Fuel, because pain is motivation in disguise. It reminds you of what you no longer want. It pushes you to rise higher. It becomes the reason you work harder, the reason you set higher standards, the reason you refuse to settle again. Pain becomes a teacher. And when you pay attention to its lessons, you evolve into a version of yourself that nothing and no one can destroy. Let's be honest, comfort never pushed anyone to grow. You don't get stronger when everything is easy. You don't discover your power when life is soft. It's The heartbreaks, the betrayals, the failures, the losses that shape you. They force you to dig deep, to rise when you thought you couldn't, to find resilience you didn't know you had. That's why pain, as much as it hurts, is also an invitation. It's life saying, here's your chance to become unbreakable. But here's the catch. Most people don't use pain the right way. They get stuck in it. They let it consume them. They relive the betrayal, replay the rejection, reopen the wound every single day. And in doing so, they waste the fuel. It's like being given fire and choosing to let it burn your house down, instead of using it to light the path forward. Pain doesn't destroy you. Your misuse of it does. But if you harness it, if you redirect it, it becomes unstoppable energy. Transforming pain into fuel means making a decision. I refuse to let what hurt me define me. I will use it to drive me. If someone broke your heart, use that pain to love yourself so fiercely that you never again accept half-hearted love. If someone doubted you, use that pain to sharpen your focus until your success silences every doubt. If someone abandoned you, use that pain to build independence so strong that no one will ever hold that kind of power over you again. Whatever pain gave you, you can flip it and turn it into power. Think about the strongest people you admire. Do you think they became who they are because everything in their life went smoothly? Of course not. Their strength was forged in pain. Their success was born from rejection. Their power was built in the fires of betrayal and failure. What makes them extraordinary is not that they avoided pain. It's that they used it. They took what was meant to destroy them and turned it into the very reason they rose. When you decide to use pain as fuel, everything changes. The tears you cried become your clarity. The heartbreak you endured becomes your hunger. The rejection you faced becomes your redirection. And slowly, you stop resenting the pain because you realize it pushed you to a place you would have never reached without it. Pain becomes not your weakness, but your weapon. There is a discipline that comes with transforming pain. It's not easy. You have to wake up on days when you'd rather stay in bed. You have to focus when your mind wants to spiral. You have to choose growth over resentment, action over self-pity. But every time you do, every time you choose to use pain as fuel instead of letting it consume you, you become stronger. You build momentum. And that momentum compounds until one day you look back and realize the very thing that hurt you the most became the reason you became unstoppable. And let me tell you, nothing eats at the people who hurt you more than watching you rise. They may expect you to break, to shrink, to stay small. But when they see you stronger, sharper, more focused, thriving in ways they never imagined, that is the sweetest revenge. Not because you did it for them, but because you did it for you, and they realize they played no part in your evolution. So here's a challenge. The next time pain enters your life, don't waste it. Don't drown in it. Don't let it poison you. Take it, hold it, and use it. Turn it into discipline. Turn it into focus. Turn it into strength. Because pain is not the end. It's the beginning of a stronger, more resilient, more unstoppable version of you. And when you rise from that, the very people who hurt you will have to watch from a distance, knowing their actions didn't break you. They built you. Success is the kind of revenge that doesn't require words, confrontation, or even acknowledgement. It's silent, powerful, and undeniable. When someone hurts you, dismisses you, or counts you out, the last thing they ever expect is to see you rise above them. Not just to recover, but to shine so brightly that their shadow can't even touch you anymore. Success doesn't just prove them wrong. It erases their power altogether. Because while they stay stuck in the same place, watching, you've already moved on, evolved, and become untouchable. When people hurt you, most of them expect you to crumble. They expect your life to slow down, your confidence to break, your goals to fade. They expect you to shrink so small that you no longer pose a threat to their ego or their choices. That's the mindset of someone who underestimates you. But the best response isn't telling them they're wrong. It's showing them it's building such a powerful, undeniable version of yourself that they can't even recognize the person they tried to break. Success has a way of silencing doubters like nothing else can. When you succeed, you don't have to clap back. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to prove your worth in conversations. Your results speak for themselves. Your growth, your achievements, your transformation. They are the loudest statement you will ever make. And the beautiful thing is, success isn't just about material wins. It's not just about money, status, or recognition. It's about evolving into someone who is so grounded, so fulfilled, and so confident in their purpose that you radiate power without saying a word. What does success look like in this sense? It looks like rebuilding your life after heartbreak, so strong that your joy can't be shaken. It looks like excelling in your work, creating opportunities, and becoming so valuable in your craft that no one can deny your influence. It looks like walking into any room with a quiet confidence that tells the world, you know exactly who you are. Success isn't just about proving someone else wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about proving that despite what happened, you will never allow someone else's actions to define the direction of your life. And here's the secret. Success isn't just for the outside world to see. It's for you. Because once you start focusing on building, creating, and growing, something incredible happens. You stop caring about who hurt you in the first place. You stop obsessing over their regret or their attention. You no longer need their acknowledgement. By the time they realize what they lost, you're too far ahead to even notice their reaction. That's what makes success the best revenge. It makes you forget you ever needed revenge at all. But success doesn't just happen. It requires discipline, focus, and a decision that you will no longer waste your energy on the wrong people. Every ounce of energy you used to pour into replaying the pain, into wondering why they did what they did, into waiting for them to notice your worth, that energy needs to be redirected into your goals. Every time you feel the sting of rejection or betrayal, let it remind you to work harder, to stay consistent, to push further. Let their doubt be the fuel that keeps you going when you're tired. Let their dismissal become the motivation that drives your persistence. Because nothing burns brighter than success fueled by resilience. Imagine this. They see you months or years later, and instead of the broken version of you they expected, they see someone thriving, someone unrecognizable in strength and confidence. That moment is powerful. Not because you want their validation, but because you no longer need it. The person they thought would never rise has built a life so beautiful, so strong, that they can't even reach you anymore. That's when regret sets in. That's when they realize they didn't just lose you. They lost the chance to be anywhere near the version of you that came after the pain. Success also reshapes your identity. It transforms you from someone who was once a victim of pain into someone who is a master of their destiny. And when you own that transformation, you send a clear message. No one controls your story but you. You are not defined by who left, who doubted, or who betrayed you. You are defined by what you built after. That's why success is so powerful. It reclaims your narrative. And let's not forget, success doesn't only serve you, it inspires others. Your journey becomes proof to others who are hurting that it's possible to rise, that it's possible to take heartbreak, betrayal, or rejection and turn it into a foundation for greatness. You become living evidence that pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of something new. That ripple effect is bigger than any revenge could ever be. Because your life becomes a testimony, not to their cruelty, but to your resilience. The most beautiful thing about success as revenge is that it outshines their expectations completely. They may have thought they knew who you were, they may have believed they had you figured out, but your success makes them realize they never knew the depth of your strength. They never knew your true potential, and by the time they do, it's too late. You've outgrown them, you've outpaced them, you've built a life so rich, so full, so fulfilling that their presence is no longer even relevant. So let them underestimate you, let them doubt you, let them believe they broke you. Don't waste your energy trying to convince them otherwise. Instead, channel that energy into your success. Build yourself so strong that their memory is nothing more than a stepping stone on your journey. Because the sweetest revenge isn't telling them they were wrong, it's living in a way that makes their opinion irrelevant. It's rising so high that they can only watch from below, knowing they'll never have access to the person you've become. One of the hardest but most liberating decisions you will ever make is cutting off access to people who have hurt you, disrespected you, or taken you for granted. It's not just about blocking a number, unfollowing them, or refusing to answer their calls. It's about closing the door to your energy, your presence, and your life. Too many people keep doors open for those who have already proven they don't deserve to walk through them. They allow temporary apologies, sweet words, or old memories to keep them tied to people who have shown them time and time again that they cannot be trusted with their heart, their time, or their energy. But true strength comes when you finally say, enough. You don't get another chance to sit at my table. You don't get another opportunity to waste my time. When someone hurts you and you continue to let them in, you're teaching them that your boundaries don't matter. You're showing them that they can treat you however they want and still have access to you. That's why cutting off access is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's the moment you decide that your value is too high to be discounted and your life is too precious to be shared with those who don't respect it. People who break you don't deserve the privilege of rebuilding with you. People who walk away don't deserve to walk back in when they feel like it. Access to you is not a right. It's a privilege. And once they've abused it, you revoke it. Here's the truth. People don't change because you keep forgiving them. They change when you finally stop giving them access. When you cut them off, they are forced to face the consequences of their actions. They can no longer rely on your kindness, your patience, your loyalty to bail them out. They are left to deal with their own choices. And that distance, that absence of you is often the only thing that wakes people up. Because nothing hits harder than realizing you no longer have access to the very person you once took for granted. But cutting off access isn't about punishing them. It's about protecting yourself. It's about refusing to let someone else's chaos drain your peace. It's about refusing to let their immaturity derail your growth. Every time you allow the wrong person access to you, you're robbing yourself of the energy you could be using to build, to heal, to thrive. You cannot reach your highest potential while carrying dead weight. Some people aren't meant to come with you to the next level, and the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. It's also important to understand that cutting someone off doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It simply means you love yourself enough to let go. You love yourself enough to stop inviting pain back into your life. You love yourself enough to protect your boundaries, even if it means being misunderstood. Self-respect sometimes looks like silence. It sometimes looks like distance. And often it looks like closing the door and locking it no matter how many times they knock. Cutting off access is not weakness, it's strength. Weakness is letting people come in and out of your life like it's a revolving door. Weakness is lowering your standards because you're afraid to be alone. Strength is knowing that solitude is better than company. That drains you. Strength is realizing that walking away is not losing, it's choosing yourself. And the irony is once you cut them off, once you refuse to go back, they often realize what they've lost. They feel the absence of your energy. They recognize the value they once overlooked. And by then it's too late. Think of your life as a kingdom. Not everyone deserves to enter the gates. Not everyone deserves to sit in the throne room. Some people belong outside the walls, watching from a distance, because they don't have the character to be trusted inside. When you let just anyone in, you compromise your safety, your peace, and your power. But when you guard your gates, when you decide who has access, you maintain control over your kingdom. And that's how you protect your crown. People may call you cold. They may say you've changed. They may accuse you of being unforgiving. But let them talk. They don't know what it costs you to keep giving access to the wrong people. They don't know the nights you cried, the energy you wasted, the opportunities you missed because you were distracted by someone who didn't deserve you. Cutting off access isn't heartless, it's healing. It's refusing to bleed for people who would never do the same for you. And here's the beautiful part. Once you cut off access to the wrong people, you create space for the right ones. You open doors for relationships that are healthy, uplifting, and worthy of your time. You create room for peace, for growth, for purpose. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel, how much more energy you have. When you finally let go of the people who only ever drained you, cutting them off isn't just an ending, it's a beginning. So Don't be afraid to close doors. Don't be afraid to block, delete, and move forward. Don't be afraid to say, you don't get access to me anymore. It's not about being bitter. It's about being better. It's about protecting the most valuable thing you have, your time, your energy, your heart, because at the end of the day, not everyone deserves you. And the best way to make that clear is not through arguments or explanations, but through action. Cut them off. Move forward and never look back. The ultimate form of revenge is not anger. It's not bitterness, and it's not even proving someone wrong in the short term. The ultimate revenge is living a life so elevated, so purposeful, so full of peace and success that the people who hurt you can no longer reach you. Physically, emotionally, or mentally, they can't touch you. Not because you're hiding, but because you've built yourself up so high that their opinions, their actions, their presence simply don't matter anymore. When you rise into that space, their regret doesn't even register because your life has become bigger than their mistakes. Elevation means growth. It means refusing to stay stuck in the same patterns, the same conversations, the same cycles that once drained you. It means building a life so rich in value that no one can diminish it. When someone hurt you, they may have thought they were leaving you broken, but what they really did was give you an opportunity to rise. And when you choose to rise, you separate yourself from the noise of small-minded people. You don't respond to their pettiness. You don't engage in their drama. You don't lower yourself to remind them of what they lost. You simply keep growing until the gap between you and them is too wide to cross. Living an elevated life doesn't mean flaunting your success or rubbing it in their face. That's still giving them too much importance. Elevation is quiet, it's graceful, it's powerful, and it's calmness. It's when you walk into a room and no longer feel the need to prove yourself because your presence already speaks louder than anything they could say. It's when you achieve milestones not to spite them, but because you've finally embraced your full potential. And in doing so, you show them indirectly what they walked away from. When you elevate your life, you stop competing with people who hurt you. You stop comparing yourself to them. You stop wondering whether they're watching, whether they're regretting, whether they're thinking about you. Why? Because your focus has shifted inward. You're no longer giving energy to their opinions. You're channeling all of it into building yourself. That's where real elevation comes from. Self-investment, reading, learning, working on your craft, improving your health, expanding your mindset, deepening your spiritual strength. You invest in every area of your life until you no longer recognize the person you used to be. And here's the beauty of it. Elevation creates distance, not the kind of distance where you're hiding, but the kind of distance where you're operating on such a high frequency that they simply can't meet you there. People who live in pettiness, jealousy, and negativity cannot breathe in the same atmosphere as someone who lives in peace, focus, and growth. It's like trying to climb a mountain without the stamina. The air is too thin for them. They can't survive where you're going. That's why they can't touch you. Not because you're unavailable, but because you've leveled up so far beyond their reach. And think about what happens when you stop responding, stop explaining, stop chasing, and instead start building. At first, people think you're ignoring them. Then they realize you're growing without them. And by the time they wake up to what's happening, it's too late. They can't catch up. The gap is permanent. You've outpaced them. And that's when regret sets in. Not because you told them they lost, but because your life makes it undeniable. They see you thriving, evolving, shining, and they know deep down they no longer have any place in your world. But here's the important part. Elevation isn't about them. It's about you. If you make it about proving them wrong, you're still tied to their energy. True elevation comes when you no longer even need their acknowledgement. When their regret doesn't fuel you anymore, your vision does, your purpose does, your peace does. That's when you know you've truly elevated. Because their name doesn't even cross your mind when you celebrate your wins. You've broken free from their orbit entirely. Living an elevated life also means protecting your space. You guard your energy, your boundaries, your goals like they are sacred. Because you stop entertaining relationships that drain you. You stop giving time to conversations that don't matter. You stop letting people who haven't earned your trust borrow your heart. Instead, you build relationships with those who pour into you, those who challenge you, those who inspire you. You fill your circle with people who are also climbing, who breathe the same high altitude air as you. Because elevation is not just about leaving people behind. It's about surrounding yourself with those who push you higher. And let's not forget, an elevated life is not just external success. It's not just money, status, or titles. Those things are good, but they are not everything. Elevation is inner peace. It's waking up in the morning and knowing you are free from their opinions, free from their expectations, free from their memory. It's walking through life with a calmness that cannot be shaken, a confidence that doesn't need validation, and a joy that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's true elevation, the kind of life where their regret doesn't even matter, because your fulfillment is already complete. The people who hurt you may expect you to hold on to anger forever. They may expect you to seek closure, to confront them, to prove something. But imagine their shock when instead of bitterness, you choose betterment. Instead of anger, you choose achievement. Instead of revenge, you choose elevation. That choice takes you out of their reach permanently. And when they see you living in that higher space, the regret will be theirs, not yours. So elevate, build your body, sharpen your mind, grow your spirit, expand your vision, stop looking back at what you lost, and start focusing on what you can create. Because the best way to win, the best way to heal, the best way to silence the noise is to rise so high that no one who tried to hurt you can even touch you anymore. That is the kind of life you deserve. That is the ultimate revenge. You don't need to argue, you don't need to chase, and you certainly don't need to prove your worth to anyone who couldn't see it. The greatest power you will ever hold is the decision to rise above, not in noise, not in anger, but in action. The people who hurt you will carry their own regret, but that is their burden, not yours. Your responsibility is to yourself, to guard your peace, to protect your energy, to build a life so rich and elevated that the pain of the past becomes nothing more than a stepping stone toward your greatness. Understand this, you were never meant to stay broken. You were meant to transform. You were meant to take every scar, every betrayal, every disappointment, and turn it into fuel for your strength. You are not defined by who left, who doubted, or who tried to break you. You are defined by how you rose after. The sweetest revenge isn't in making them pay. The sweetest revenge is in becoming so powerful, so confident, and so fulfilled that they no longer have access to you. You become untouchable. You become the one who got away, the one they regret losing, the one they can never reach again. So choose yourself. Close the doors that need closing. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Walk away with dignity and build a life so elevated that no apology, no explanation, and no return could ever compare. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't in hurting them back. It's in living so well, so boldly, and so fully that their memory is nothing more than a shadow behind the brilliance of your light. You are not just surviving, you are rising. And once you rise, they'll never touch you again.